Good morning to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Before we go to the editorial analysis and the enrichment part, let us start the session with a nice quote. What is today's quote? There is no substitute for hard work. Hard work always pays off. If at all you want to depend on something, do remember to depend on hard work. There is no substitute for hard work. A very useful quote. Now, coming to today's editorial, it is all about the new CM when it comes to the state of Uttarakhand, the new CM, Mr. Dhami. And what is interesting here, in spite of the fact that he could not win in the recent elections, he has been appointed for the second term as a chief minister. He has been chosen by the party as a chief minister. That is interesting. And there are a few words. Yesterday also we got an editorial related to polity. Today both the editorials related to polity. One is related to Goa and the other one is Uttarakhand. I chose this one, and as I said, today after the editorial analysis, we are going to work on practice questions based on exam topics based on RBI assistant exam. That way, those who are preparing for this exam, they will get a fair idea how the questions are going to be, what the standards are. But always remember, every year the standards go up. Don't expect the same standards you can't expect. Now let us go to the editorial vocabulary to begin with. Someone wanted me to increase the font size. I have done that. And someone else wanted me to write the part of speech. Usually, what happens, I have done that as well. Usually, what happens, we don't do certain things. The reason being, everything is given, it becomes something like spoon feeding. Spoon feeding is always dangerous, not advisable. Initially, it's all right, but in the long run, spoon feeding is dangerous. It may be detrimental. I tell the word, I tell the meaning. You got to be attentive, you got to listen. Then it becomes easy for you to recollect. Whereas everything is presented in a clean manner, neat manner, then certain things enter, certain things don't enter. Still, I have respected. So, appeal, the first one, appeal, it has two different meanings. One meaning, it's a legal term, appeal in the higher court. But here, yes, of course, that is a mandatory thing, 6 months' time. Appeal, a different meaning. Make a serious, urgent, or heartfelt request. Appeal to someone, in a way, it is a request someone, one meaning. The other meaning, it's a legal term. It goes with courts, made an appeal. But the part of speech, it could be a verb, it could be a noun. Do remember the part of speech. At the helm, it is an idiomatic expression. Helm goes with ships steering the wheel, but at the helm changes to an idiomatic expression. What does it mean? I means idiomatic expression, idiom. Officially controlling an organization or company, to be at the top and have the power to control an organization or a company. He has been at the helm for almost 6 months. One example. Cruise, it could be a verb. Actually, it is a verb. It could be an adjective. Here, cruised, you have to recollect. We can use a verb, the past participle form, as well as a present participle form. We can use as adjectives, and present participle we can also use as a noun. Then we use the term gerund. It's understood. So, verb, the basic word is what? Verb. To move or proceed speedily, smoothly, or effortlessly. Precarious, many a time you have got adjective. Oh, this I forgot. Precarious situation. Not securely held or in position, dangerously likely to fall or collapse. You can simply think of precarious means dangerously positioned, an important word. Transition, noun. The process or a period of changing from one state or condition to another. There is a change from one state to another state, then we use the term transition. You're all job aspirants. There are two words, job seekers, Job aspirants. Aspirant, part of speech noun. A person who has ambitions to achieve something. You want to achieve something, then you're known as an aspirant. Tussle. It could be a noun, it could be a verb. As a verb, it's a regular verb. A vigorous struggle or scuffle, typically in order to obtain or achieve something. In this context, achieve power. Fragile, we have got many a time adjective of an object easily broken or damaged, easily destroyed a situation. Populace, we have got for the first time part of speech noun. What does it mean? The people living in a particular country or area. Populace. Preeminent, an important word. Adjective. Surpassing all others, very distinguished in some way, a different league altogether. Pilgrimage, this comes from the word pilgrim. Pilgrim, a person, pilgrimage, a noun. Journey of a pilgrim, especially that is one thing, one to a shrine or a sacred place. A person goes from one sacred place to another sacred place, then we call that a pilgrimage, and the person is called a pilgrim. Assuage, already we have got many a time. Alleviate, assuage, mitigate, all are synonyms. Make an unpleasant feeling less intense, one meaning. Make something less intense. Usually it goes with a problem, a bad situation, less intense. Reduce the pain. Assuage, alleviate, mitigate. And another meaning you can also think of in this context, satisfy. Miff is a verb, miff. Somewhat annoyed, not completely, somewhat annoyed or peeved, an important word. Endorsement. Endorse is a verb, endorsement noun. Declare one's public approval or support of usually a product or a service. Endorsement by a celebrity. A celebrity comes and says this is the best product, that is nothing but publicly approving a particular product. Coalition we have got in the recent past many a time. Coalition government, part of speech adjective. A temporary alliance for combined action, especially of political parties forming a government, as I said. Poised, an important word. While taking the exam, you should be poised, having a composed and self assured manner. Do remember at the time of the exam, you should be poised. The poise is very important. Composed, self assured manner. Veteran, I'm sure you guys know, a person who has had long experience in a particular field, a movie veteran. When it comes to actors, politicians, we use the word veteran. Hierarchy usually goes with the corporate sector, companies, either public or private, a system in which members of an organization or society are ranked according to relative status or authority. Hierarchy, an important word. Now let us go to the editorial. Dhami's climb. Here, climb means going up in the status, in the hierarchy. It could be in the party, it could be in the state. What is the main idea of this editorial? Despite losing his seat, the new CM has demonstrated a statewide appeal. Despite expresses a contrast, you have to recollect, veteran cricket player, very good. You have to recollect another word, in spite of. Both the words are very important from the exam point of view. I will tell quickly. Despite of, they have given in many exams the wrong combination. Despite does not take the preposition of. Do remember, it is not correct. And the other one, in spite of, people write as two words, but you should write as three separate words. In spite of. So these two words, and if you ask, sir, what is the difference between despite and in spite of? Despite is a little more formal than in spite of. That could be the reason why here you see despite, not in spite of. Despite and in spite of, they both express a contrast. Despite losing his seat in the recent elections, the new CM has demonstrated a statewide appeal. There's one word over here, appeal. Make a serious, urgent, or heartfelt request. In this context, it is not serious or urgent, it is heartfelt request. Appeal to the electorate because of the elections. So, what is the main idea? As I said, this is an interesting one. Usually, it doesn't happen in the field of politics. In the field of politics, usually Success, if someone is highly successful, he or she gets power. But in this context, this is against the usual thing. Usually, what happens? One has to win. Only then the person gets the chief minister post or minister post. But in this context, he could not win in the recent elections. In spite of that, despite losing his seat, the new CM has demonstrated a statewide appeal. Though he could not win in his constituency, he could demonstrate, illustrate, demonstrate related words, but demonstrate means to show, display. A statewide appeal. That could be the reason why he has been chosen, in spite of the fact that he could not win, as a new CM. Main idea is quite clear. Now let us go to the editorial. The Bharatiya Janata Party's decision to appoint Pushkar Singh Dhami as Chief Minister of Uttarakhand appears to be a considered one, carefully thought out. Here, it starts with his appointment as a new Chief Minister. The Bharatiya Janata Party's decision to appoint Pushkar Singh Dhami as Chief Minister of Uttarakhand appears to be, seems to be, sentence is in present tense, a considered one means what in this context? A carefully thought out one. Why a considered one? He had lost the assembly election from Kathima. This is a bit surprising. He had lost the assembly election from Kathima, a constituency that he represented twice. That is more surprising. A constituency from where a candidate contests, the word is constituency, that he represented twice, bringing into question his suitability to continue in the post that he came to occupy in July 2021. He became the CM last year in the month of July, and not even 1 year completed, because he could not win and he represented the same constituency twice. Then obviously it becomes, people wonder how come he has been appointed as a new CM. This has brought into question his suitability. This is what it talks about. Looking at the background and what happened in the recent past, he has been, because he has been appointed as a CM, that particular act has brought into question, bring into question, an important expression, do remember, bringing into question his suitability to continue in the post that he came to occupy in July 2021. A lot of people must have questioned how come he has been appointed as a new CM, incumbent CM appointed for the second term, despite losing, not winning in his constituency. That is definitely not the regular thing. The reappointment for a second term is appreciation by the BJP leadership of his significant contribution in steadying the ship for the party within the few months he was at the helm. There generally what happens, a person appointed as a CM, the party takes into consideration a lot of factors, not simply winning from his constituency or losing from his or her constituency. Various factors, especially to what extent he could handle the party, to what extent he could handle the party workers, to what extent he could appeal to the electorate. All these factors matter, and keeping those factors in mind, the BJP party must have given a second term to Mr. Dhami. The sentence talks about that. The reappointment for a second term is appreciation by the BJP leadership of his significant contribution, important contribution in steadying the ship. Perhaps there were problems in the party, and take he could tackle those problems. Significant contribution in steadying the ship. That means it was not it was not a smooth sail. It was rather disturbing or disturbed. Steadying the ship for the party within the few months, within no time, he was at the helm. There is one important idiomatic expression, at the helm. Means what? Officially controlling an organization or company. The BJP has had a rough patch. As I said, steadying the ship means something was not right. There were problems. The next sentence talks about that. The BJP has had an important expression. Please answer my question. Which tense is this? Present perfect, has had. Whenever you come across present perfect with the primary auxiliary have in different forms, you got to be alert. The BJP, third person singular, based on that has, but you had in the past participle form. The BJP has had A rough patch means a disturbed. There were a lot of problems in the party. A rough patch, bad patch also you can think of. In the Hill State, and Mr. Dhami was a third chief minister in the last year of the previous assembly's 5-year term. They had to change three chief ministers. So BJP has had a rough patch in the Hill State, one thing, and Mr. Dhami was a third chief minister. To substantiate that rough patch, bad patch, a lot of problems in the party, and based on that, the sentence talks about Mr. Dhami was a third chief minister in the last year of the previous assembly's 5-year term. In 5-year term, three chief ministers. Usually, that also doesn't happen. Though he lost his seat, the BJP cruised to a comfortable majority, the first time a ruling party retained power since the state was formed 21 years ago. All contrasting and interesting. It talks about though he lost, again contrasting information, though he lost his seat, the BJP cruised. Cruise usually goes with ships. But in this context, as a verb, it could be a noun, it could be an adjective, it could be a verb, it could be a noun. As a verb, to move or proceed speedily, smoothly, or effortlessly. The BJP party cruised to a comfortable majority. They could do it comfortably, they could achieve it effortlessly. The first time, not only that, this is the first time a ruling party retained power since the state was formed 21 years ago. That means every time a different party, but this is for the first time a ruling party in power, a ruling party retained power since the state was formed 21 years ago. That is an accomplishment. It could be the name of a person, Tom Cruise. By selecting Mr. Dhami, the BJP has effected this. You got to be alert. We have got so many questions, bank exams, SSC, based on confusing words. Effect. Effect is a verb, effect is a noun. But I always tell students, effect can be a verb, can be a noun, but when it comes to usage, it is used as a noun. And as a verb, it goes with a formal situation. It is more of a literary expression. Sometimes you come across exceptions. Here has affected, not affected, affected. Nothing wrong with that expression. By selecting Mr. Dhami, the BJP has effected a definitive generational transition. He is not even 50. So this talks about generational transition. Transition means what? Change. The process or a period of changing from one state to another state. Usually the CMs are 50 plus, 60 plus, usually. But in this context, by selecting Mr. Dhami, the BJP has effected a definitive generational transition in Uttarakhand. He's only 46, I suppose. And here you have to recollect generation gap. One generation, another generation. They don't have the same ideas and they're always at loggerheads. Then we use the expression generation gap. Several former chief ministers are around in Uttarakhand, and some of them were aspirants this time too. Already some politicians, they were the CMs, and they were in the fray. Several former chief ministers are around in Uttarakhand, and some of them were aspirants this time too. That means what they must have expected this time also the CM post. Aspirant, a person who has ambitions to achieve something. The trust that the BJP has shown in Mr. Dhami could settle the leadership tussles in the party for some time to come. In spite of that, former CMs, and they were also in the fray, they were also aspirants, they wanted to become the chief minister. The BJP has chosen Mr. Dhami. The trust, the faith that the BJP has shown in Mr. Dhami could settle the leadership tussles, could settle possibility. The leadership tussles. Tussle we have got for the first time, I suppose. A vigorous struggle or scuffle, typically in order to obtain or achieve something, power in this context. Leadership tussles in the party for some time to come, an important expression. Groomed in the ABVP and rising through the ranks, another important expression. Groomed means trained, in the ABVP. Actually, groom has two different meanings. I'm going to tell. When it comes to interview, generally we tell candidates at the time of the interview, you should be well dressed, well groomed. Well dressed, you all know, formal, formal appearance, formal dress. You have to wear a formal dress, well dressed. Another expression we use, well groomed. Groomed, one meaning in that context, well groomed for the interview. Hair properly done, you should look neat, neat and hair properly done, groomed, well groomed. In this context, groomed means trained, a different meaning altogether. Groomed in the ABVP means trained in the ABVP party, usually student level ABVP, and rising through the ranks means in the initially must have joined as a party member, then secretary, then the president, rising through the ranks, an important expression. As I said, just not even 50. The 46-year-old chief minister has earned the trust of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh. So he has won the trust. He has earned the trust, another important expression, of the PM and also RSS, the party, the organization. I think I have given the meanings of all the words. Yes. His initial appointment was more an act of firefighting by the BJP. His initial appointment was more of an act, another important expression, an act of firefighting the differences, the problems by the BJP within the party in that particular state. But this time, he has earned it through performance and the acceptability that he would win across the cross section of the state's populace despite losing from his own constituency. Initially, he was appointed as an act of firefighting, but this time he has earned his position or the post through performance and the acceptability that he would win across the cross section of the state's populace. As a leader, any successful leader has to appeal to the cross section of the state or country. The cross section of the state, an important expression. Populace, we have got for the first time, means what? The people living in a particular country or area, in this context, Uttarakhand, the state, despite losing from his own constituency. That is an aberration. The party might not have considered that particular aberration. Despite that, they appointed him as a new CM. As a sole commander, now the editorial talks about in under what circumstances he became the CM, what the party has considered, why the party has imposed or trusted this particular candidate as a CM. Now, the second part of the editorial talks about what are the challenges he's going to face. As a sole commander, sole means individual. Alone, also, you can think sole proprietor, no partners, individual. As a sole commander of a state which is in a precarious financial situation, precarious, an important word, not securely held or in position, dangerously likely to fall or collapse, something that is not secure, precarious, financially speaking, financial situation. Mr. Dami's job is not going to be an easy one, obviously. A state is in a precarious situation, financially speaking. Definitely, it is not going to be an easy one. It is going to be an uphill task. That is one problem. Meeting the development aspirations of the people in an ecologically fragile region poses unique challenges. I am sure you all know last year and the year before that, a lot of disasters, natural disasters, landslides, and other problems this particular state experienced floods, inundation. And based on that, this particular sentence, meeting the development aspirations. One of the reasons, development, construction of dams. So there are two things over here. Development is obviously important, the most important thing, and aspirations of the people. They always want development. At the same time, it should not be at the cost of the fragile environment. Meeting the development aspirations of the people in an ecologically fragile region. Fragile means what? Delicate, easily damaged, poses unique challenges, not easy again. The state can unlock more of its tourism potential, but accompanying environmental cost will have to be factored in. An important expression, factored in means considered. They have to be considered. The state can unlock more of its tourism potential. The state has a lot of tourism potential because it is at the foothills of the Himalayas and beautiful landscapes. The state can unlock more of its tourism potential, but at the same time, accompanying environmental cost will have to be considered, will have to be factored in. He talks about the CM, a Rajput, Mr. Dami, gained the goodwill of other communities too in his previous term, though a short one. His compromise on a government move to regulate the affairs of the Char Dham, the four preeminent Hindu pilgrimage sites in the Himalayas in the state, assuaged the Brahmins who were miffed with the BJP. This sentence talks about how we could win the trust of different communities, goodwill of other communities. One of the examples, his compromise on a government move to regulate the affairs of the Chardam, the four preeminent, an important word, surpassing all others, very distinguished in some way, unique, distinguished. Hindu pilgrimage sites. Pilgrim, a person, pilgrimage, a person visits a lot of sacred places. That journey is known as pilgrimage. And there are certain sites, pilgrimage sites in the Himalayas in the state, assuaged the Brahmins, a particular community, assuage, alleviate, mitigate, make an unpleasant feeling less intense or satisfy, reduce the pain, who were miffed with the BJP. Miffed means somewhat annoyed with the endorsement of the party's central leadership. Endorse means publicly approve. With the endorsement of the party's central leadership means the prime minister and the top leaders of the party and a stable social coalition. Usually we talk about political coalition. Here a new combination, stable social coalition. Because he could win the goodwill of other communities, there is a stable social coalition. He is well poised, composed, in a good position for the moment, right now, but that is no guarantee for the future. As of now, in the present scenario, everything looks perfect, flawless, but there is no guarantee for the future. Anytime, anything may happen. That's what the sentence talks about. The future. The 2024 Lok Sabha election will be a political test for him, definitely. He is surrounded. Why? He is surrounded by veterans. Veteran, a person who has had long experience in a particular field, who might take time to adjust to the new hierarchy. Hierarchy usually goes with a company, a system in which members of an organization or society are ranked according to relative status or authority. From top to bottom, we use the term hierarchy. Veterans may take some time. He's only 46, they have to accept, and it may take some time. So that is one challenge. He also happens to be the first chief minister of the state who was not an active politician during the campaign for its formation. 21 years ago, there was a campaign for the formation of the new state. That time, he was not an active politician. That could also be a challenge. He also happens to be the chief minister, first chief minister of the state who was not an active politician during the campaign for its formation. The new chief minister of Uttarakhand has a great opportunity and faces great challenges at the same time. Paradoxical situation, great opportunity and great challenges. This is all about the editorial and what are the questions based on the editorial comprehension point of view. What is this editorial about? What has brought into question an important expression, Mr. Dami's suitability to continue in the post? You should be able to write. By selecting Mr. Dami, what has the BJP effected? An important word, keyword. Navigate, locate, write the answer. What poses unique challenges in the context of the editorial? Unique challenges poses, something poses unique challenges in the context of the editorial. You should be able to write. What will be a political test for Mr. Dami? Again, easy to write based on the keywords. Now let us go to these questions are from previous year's papers of RBI assistant exam. When you go through these questions, I could not bring, you all know 30 questions, 10 questions based on passage. It is very difficult to present the passage over here. So I usually don't bring, you all know that, but 20 questions, multiple choice and objective type, objective in nature. I have brought 20 of them, and you should get a fair idea how the questions, they ask the questions, and also the questions give you an idea of the standards. But I would like to caution, do remember the standards may not be the same. Every year the standards go up because of the competition. I see a few students have started answering. Mahesh, who was junior in most other employees in his office, has been promoted. Here, whenever you come across words like senior, junior, anterior, posterior, and also elder, preferable, so many words are there, 10 plus. You have to recollect all these, and also the word prefer. They all take the preposition to. Senior to, junior to, superior, inferior, anterior, posterior, prior, preferable, elder, and the verb prefer. All these, almost all of these are compared to adjectives, and the word prefer is a verb. So, what is this about? It is about comparative adjectives. You have to recollect comparative adjectives. You have to recollect all the important words. From the last 1 month, each of us has been working on the same project. Once we say here, who was who was junior, now he is not. There's only one error. Please don't look at other expressions. I have told many a time. Only one error, if at all two errors, I myself will tell. There's one more error. From the last 1 month, each of us has been working. Each takes a singular verb. Has been working. Which tense is that? Present perfect continuous tense. Then you have to recollect two prepositions. One since, the other for. Here you don't see for. And it talks about a time period, the last 1 month. You have to use 1 month. Is it a time period or is it something specific? You have to decide. For the last 1 month, not since. For the last, here we have to use. For the last 2 days, for the last 1 month. Since last month would have been correct. But here, look at the phrase very carefully. The last 1 month, then it is a time period. You can also use a word in place of past, in place of last, you can also use the word past. For the past, it's a time period. Time period, we have to use for. For the past 2 days, for the past 1 month. Imagine they have not given further the last one, only last month, then since last month, since yesterday. Both are different. Since last month is different, for the last 1 month is different. Both are entirely different. Here we have to use for, not since. I hope you guys got the difference. Who is this? Someone has mentioned that. Tirupati Rao. Very good. I appreciate. For the last 1 month, since last month. Both are different. Please go to question number 3. When I received the letter, the date for the interview was already over. When I received the letter, the date for the interview was already over. You should understand the context goes into the past. Yes, very good, Uday Kumar. If you write that way, you will be able to remember. Context goes into the past. Past context. We cannot say receive. The verb should be received. The verb should be in past form. Past form. Question number 4 should not be that difficult. We had helped him if he had requested us earlier. Easy to answer based on grammar knowledge. Combination of past continuous and past tense. Go to question number 4. Whenever you come across the word if, you should become alert and you should think of conditionals. If he had requested us earlier, he had requested, which tense is that? Past perfect tense. That means which conditional is this? Past conditional. Past conditional main clause, we have to use would plus have plus verb past participle form. Here it is in past participle, no problem. But had is not correct. It should be we would have. We would have helped him if he had requested us earlier. And what is this question about? Past conditional. We have observed that many good programs suffer of shortage of funds and other resources. An easy one. We have observed that many good programs suffer of shortage of funds and other resources. Exactly, Srinivas. Would plus have plus verb past participle form. Easy to answer. Suffer takes a preposition from, not of. We have observed that many good programs suffer from shortage of funds and other resources. So this is based on prepositional combinations or based on prepositional combination. People also say fixed preposition. I prefer prepositional combination. Both mean the same. And make a note. See, today you have to assess yourself. 20 questions I have brought, all from previous year's papers of RBI assistant exam. And here out of 5, how many you have got correct? Do remember. Final score will check. You have 5 questions based on double fillers. And someone said, sir, please tell the meanings of other words. I have been doing it. I may not write, but I always tell the meanings of other words besides the combination, besides a pair. You have to listen. That's what I said. You can't expect spoon feeding. Every word I cannot present because here it is a combination of the Hindu editorial analysis plus practice questions based on exam topics. Imagine it's a mock test, exclusive. Definitely, I will show, I will present the meanings. You may see on the, when I present the question, after the answer, you see the words and the meanings. That's what I usually do. Many of my students know that. But here we can't afford to do that, the time factor. So what I do to compensate, I tell the meaning. You have to listen and catch. After carefully the situation, the farmer sympathized the mule. Scrutinizing the situation, carefully observing. Assessing you can consider, observing you can consider, fighting the situation you cannot consider, ignoring the situation, carefully ignoring, not the right combination. It has to be the first one, second one, or the third one. Sympathized on the mule. Here you have to know the prepositional combination. Sympathize on is not correct. Sympathize through is completely ruled out. Sympathize with, that is a combination. This question is based on prepositional combination besides contextual awareness. After carefully assessing the situation, the farmer sympathized with. This is a clue for you. Answer is B. Very good. I appreciate that. Once there lived a cunning fox who always to others with his awful acts. Awful means bad, terrible. Easy to answer. Second one. To be. No, no. B is not correct. Once there lived a cunning fox who always wished. You can consider to cheating, not correct. Who always desired, you can consider betrayed, to cheating. No, no, not correct. The verb should be in the bare infinitive. Always thought to fooling, again, grammatically not correct. Who always tried to deceive or to cheat or to betray or to fool. Had they given cheat, betray, fool, they would have been right. But based on grammar knowledge, based on the word form, you cannot consider these three. Who always longed, desired, this is also correct. But again, the verb form is not correct. Only one can be considered, grammatically speaking, to cheat, to betray, to fool, to deceive. So here only deceive. Answer is D. I, a friend named Raj, who a horse ranch in the city. At the outset, I has ruled out. I need a friend. No. I possess, have both mean the same. Got, they all mean the same. I got a friend, I have a friend, but generally we don't use the word possess in this context. Exactly. It has to be either have or got. I have a friend named Raj who owns a horse ranch in the city. Seems right. Sells a horse ranch? No, owns. Answer is D. Very good. Answers are coming like bullets. Looks like easy, an easy one. Question number 4. The recently Olympic Games experienced some unhealthy practices to by a few athletes. Recently concluded can be considered, recently finished can be considered, held can be considered, over can be considered, closed Olympic Games to some extent. Not easy. You have to consider the second word in each option. Some unhealthy practices, experience some unhealthy practices resorted to by a few athletes. Hold this one. Preferred to, we don't say that. Exhibited to, not the right combination. Adhere to, stick to, goes with law. Again, not the right combination. Devoured goes with eating and also getting information. Devour, to take something in huge quantities quickly. Resorted to by a few athletes. Answer is the first option. The recently concluded Olympic Games experienced some unhealthy practices resorted to by a few athletes. Exhibited to, not correct. Resorted to. That means what? The sentence says some athletes resorted to unhealthy practices. Answer is A, beyond any doubt. No other option fits grammatically, contextually. Devour also goes with wild animals, predators, devour the prey. Yes, Yakub. It goes with information, it goes with food. So many combinations are there. Question number 5. If criminals are to join electoral fray, I've used this today while doing the analysis, is likely to increase. If criminals are compelled, compel means force. Why will we compel the criminals? Not correct. Encouraged can be considered. Allowed can be considered. Deterred. Deter means to stop someone from doing something. No, it doesn't go with the context. Invited. Why will we invite? So either encouraged or allowed. Then based on the second word, you have to decide. If criminals are encouraged to join electoral fray, that means they are encouraged to contest. Harmony is likely to increase. No, disharmony will increase. Based on that, not correct. Extortion means what? Demand money, threatening someone. Someone threatens a person asking for money, then we use the word extortion. Here, the context talks about criminals. Usually, criminals resort to extortion. Based on that, contextually, grammatically, vocabulary point of view, answer is C. Again, make a note how many you have got correct out of 5. I hope you can make out. I had to reduce the font size, I had to remove the heading, and there are 6 parts. You should get the correct order because 5 marks here. So far, you have worked on 10. Remember how many out of 10? Now 5. Para jumble. What I have noticed, RBI assistant, they are giving questions related, para jumbles related to passages also, related to stories, but 17, 16, 17, 20. Now they may not do that. They may give a passage related to, I have already given the acronym, sleeps. Take elimination approach. I'll wait. Today I will wait for you guys to respond. That's good. 9 out of 10. So far, so good. He cannot be the first one. There's a pronoun. Once upon a time, long, long ago, once, stories usually. So based on that, B. Once a squirrel, first time a squirrel, joined the service of the king of the forest, the lion. Second one is a bit different, a bit difficult. Sonarika, yes, you got it right. I see others, they have chosen C. C is not correct. It is A. B. A. He did whatever work. See here, once a squirrel joined the service, that is a clue for you. Join the service of the king of the forest, the lion. Then it has to be, there should be continuity of thought. Join the service, then what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to work. Based on that, he did whatever work was assigned to him, and soon the lion became so fond of him that he promised to give him a cart full of almonds as pension when the squirrel retired. BA. Next what? However, contrasting information. He envied other squirrels in the forest because of their carefree life, which he could not enjoy as he had to be by the king's side all the time. Bad, first one. BAD. Because of that bitter feeling he envied, means a negative feeling, he consoled himself with the thought that at the end of his career, he would receive a cart full of almonds. See, already mentioned cart full of almonds, a food that only a few squirrels got to taste in their lifetime. It is something not easy to get for squirrels. EF. Finally, the day came when it was time for him to retire, and as promised, the king gave a grand banquet in his honor, a special meal, a lot of people gather in his honor, and presented him with a cart full of almonds. EF. The squirrel had waited so long for this day, but when he saw the almonds, he was seized with sadness. He was very unhappy. Why? As he realized that they were of no use to him now when he had lost all his teeth. No teeth, you can't have almonds. So, what is the correct order? BAD, EFC, EFC. So, 5 marks, just make a note. Listen to the instructions now. Inappropriate word or incorrect word. Here you see 4 words in red, bold. One of the words not correct, incorrect, or inappropriate. You have to choose that word as your answer. If all the words are correct, none of these. Read, understand the context, then you have to choose the word that is inappropriate or incorrect. Very unfortunate. I pity the squirrel. Happy the girl was, for her mother was dead, her father had married another woman, a widow with two daughters, and her stepmother did not like her one little bit. Huh. The context talks about a negative or a sad situation. Mother was dead. Her father married another woman, a widow with two daughters, and her stepmother, that woman becomes her stepmother, did not like her one little bit. All the three things talk about something bad or sad or not acceptable. Then we cannot use the word happy. We have to say, think of the right word. Unhappy the girl was. Contextual, purely contextual awareness. Unhappy the girl was. Here for means because. To express a reason, we have four conjunctions. Because, since they are used for a strong reason, and for as used for a weak reason. One day, while the Bodhisattva was walking through the forest with his disciplined Ajita, he saw a hungry tigress about to eat her own cubs. Cubs, usually lion cubs, tiger cubs. Dogs, we use the word puppies. Rabbits, we use the word bunnies. One day, while the Bodhisattva was walking through the forest with his disciplined Ajita, he saw a hungry tigress about to eat her own cubs. Yes, very good. Write the correct word. I appreciate that. Who is this puma? Very good. With his discipline? No, not at all correct. It should be with his disciple. Disciple means what? Follower. Disciple of a guru, not discipline, disciple. Disciple, what is the spelling? Disciple. Disciple. The merchant had good breakfast and after tidying himself up, went downstairs to thank his cruel host. All these are very easy questions. I'm sure many of you may get 20 out of 20. But these are actual questions from previous years' papers of RBI assistant. Now don't expect questions, you can't expect questions to be this easy. The merchant had good breakfast. After tidying himself up, tidy means neat and clean, went downstairs to thank his good breakfast. You cannot use cruel host. That is not the right word. It should be generous. Generous host, not cruel. Tidying himself up, nothing wrong with that. Cruel is not correct. It doesn't go with the context. Incorrect. Generous is the right word. Kids made a beautiful arrangement by putting colored rocks on the sides of the table. Spick and span, apple pie order, related idioms, clean and neat, generous host, kind host. Kids made a beautiful agreement by putting colored rocks on the sides of the table. More than amicable, generous, kind. Here it is not agreement. No, it should be arrangement. Kids made a beautiful arrangement by putting colored rocks on the sides of the table. Arrangements. Arrangement is the right word. Employees of the state run BPCL who participated in a nationwide strike on 8 January, have rejoiced by while reading it has come out, have rejoiced that the company cut 4 days' salary. All are easy questions. I really wonder. Maybe in the past, now you can't expect questions to be this easy. Context talks about something negative. Employees of the state run BPCL who participated in a nationwide strike on. Oh, really? Okay. Strike on 8 January have rejoiced. Strike, negative context. You cannot use a positive word like rejoiced. Rejoice means what? Celebrate. Here it should be alleged. What is the right word? Allege. Have alleged that the company cut 4 days' salary. Allege is the right word. Now, the $1 million question, has anyone got all the 20 correct? And I would like to remind you guys, these are questions from previous year's papers of RBI assistant. To begin with, I have brought easy questions. And tomorrow and day after, I'm going to bring RBI assistant exam based practice questions. And the standards will go up tomorrow and day after based on the present standards. So you may not don't expect questions to be this easy. 18, 17, 19, that's good. 16, 14, I see the range. 15 plus is good enough. 15 plus. 18, 19, those who have been preparing, they should get 18 or 19. Now let us go to the last slide. We have only 3 minutes. I want you guys to respond quickly. I have already given, either way it is correct. Madhav, when it comes to dates, there's so many ways, about 10 plus ways to express their dates. 8th January, January 8th. There are so many ways while using the numbers also. Both are correct. 8th January would be better. January 8th, 8 January. Generally, we don't say 8 January. 8th is a better one. But when it comes to letter writing, I tell students, you can write January 8th. That is also acceptable. Formal English. Appeal, I will write the basic what it is, or I will write both noun, verb. Appeal means what? Please answer quickly. Make a heartfelt request. H. Precarious situation. Dangerous situation. J. Tussle, noun. It could be a verb, usually used as a noun. Tussle means what? A vigorous struggle or fight or scuffle. A. Fragile, adjective. Easily broken or damaged. Assuage, verb. Regular verb. Make less intense. Miff is also a verb. Somewhat annoyed. B. Endorse is a verb. Endorsement, noun form. Publicly approve. E. Poised. Poise, noun. Poised, verb. In this context, poised person, adjective. Means composed. Veteran, noun. Experienced person in a particular field. Could be sports, could be politics, could be movies. Hierarchy, noun. A system in which people are placed based on the status or the rank. Answer is G. All the 10 correct, you should be very happy. Thanks for being with me till 9. I'm glad I could complete I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a nice day. Do remember to subscribe and share. I'll provide the PDF work on important questions. But I would like to caution today I have brought easy questions, actual questions. Tomorrow and day after they're going to be challenging. Be prepared for that. Thank you. And join the Telegram group. After the session, you have to go to the description of the video, click on the link. That's it. You don't have to do